to the retail real estate landscape as well as the retail landscape. And what we're seeing on a high level are three major trends that are contributing to the changes that we're seeing in the tenant curation and in what's being built. Ways than just the physical store. And then through that smartphone that we all hold in our hands all the time. I see a lot of them going right now. That's how we connect. It is a way for us to get all the information that we need. Population, they are aging out of their prime consumption years and becoming empty nesters. So their habits are changing. They don't need the big house. They don't need as much in groceries. They're not buying clothes for their kids. They want to live and how they want to spend their dollars. Then you have life milestones and are starting to change their spending habits. So instead of necessarily going to the bar every night, now they're buying diapers and formula and baby clothes. Left the cities and went to the suburbs and built their house and had their good schools and their parks. But we're seeing a lot of people, a more live, work, and play type of environment. And again, that goes to the baby boomers who are downsizing, and it goes to the millennials who haven't quite gotten to that point yet of wanting to buy a house. My husbands are my best friends. So you want personalization, and you expect it in the store as well. So we are seeing here a huge increase in food and beverage. People want more dining options. They want the experience. Millennials especially, they are more willing to spend their money on experience than they are on tangible goods. People want inexpensive items. They just want good items at a lesser price. They also love stores like TJ Maxx and Marshalls because they can get the value and they get the hunt, and it's something different every other week. Especially Gen Z and a digitally native demographic that they are. They like that because they all want something different. They live in an Instagram world. So their friends see their clothes, and so heaven forbid you should wear those clothes again. And so they want the less expensive so that they can wear different things a lot. Services and entertainment into our whole pie. So you can see kind of the breakdown of that. But if you focus on that total retail sales, that $5.3 trillion in 2018, that made up 81% of that whole pie. And if you look at on the other side of that, I'm going to actually break down that portion. And pure play e-commerce have all grown. Now, pure play e-commerce has grown exponentially, but it's starting from a lower base number. So growth is almost identical, but the percentages aren't. So it has to do with the base. 6% happens in a physical store. And we have numbers anywhere from about 86 to 90%. So we know overall the majority happen there. It's about $4.5 trillion. So all the other sales in that 5.3 trillion, the other is this 14%. Now everybody likes to think that 14% is e-commerce. That's Amazon, but it's not here in the US at least. Sales with a retailer with a physical presence. 3% is mail order or internet, so that's your eBays, your Etsy, or not Etsy, but eBay. Interestingly enough, I love this number because a good chunk of this number is mail order prescriptions. As we look at our aging baby boomers and the way that our health system is structured, a lot more prescriptions are going through the mail and they get lumped in here. You've got some other non-store of the day. Pure play is still an incredibly small percentage of all retail sales in Europe. And we ran the exact same survey and found that consumers are more comfortable buying online when a store has a physical presence in their area. That makes returns easier, it makes exchanges easier, it makes their lives easier, so they would prefer to have both options. Store, they see a 37% increase in their overall web traffic. Now that number is about 27% for established retailers, in that particular market, and it's about 46% for emerging brands in a particular market. So the traffic decreased. People stopped shopping there. So it's whether it's out of sight, out of mind, or it's not convenient any longer, or what. There was a direct negative impact that happened. Now, keeping in mind, this is all, aside from the typical business decisions that you have to make as a retailer, there are poor performing stores, there are economic challenges, but in general, when you're looking at markets, you will see an increase in that web traffic. Halo 2, and we wanted to quantify this in the days following. So we looked at 5-day increments from 1 day to 30 days. And what we found is we focused on the 15-day because we did see a decrease following 15 days. But for every $100 that started online, consumers went to the store and spent an additional $131. Now this is net of returns and exchanges, so this is truly additional money for a total of $231, $167 in a 15-day window. So obviously the two are absolutely interdependent upon one another, and it matters to the bottom line. Store, discount department store, and whatnot. The interesting thing here is you look at discount department, and for us that's a Target or a Walmart. These stores, Walmart's doing a fantastic job expanding their platforms to account for online, but they are still seeing 96% of their sales happen in a physical store. A shift from online to in-store sales. So when they open a store, they go from 100% online to only 40% online. So there's a great benefit, and a lot of it has to do with brand. Total spending happens in an omni-channel environment. Even more interestingly is that the omni-channel customers, it's about 17% of total customers, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that 17% does that 34% of spending.
Take this. Yeah, very important. Since if we look at 40 years ago in 79, that's a top line on this table, sorry. But it's roughly about the same as 10 years ago, so not that much growth. What we have to keep in mind here, though, it's like US open air centers. So open air centers, it's about 98%. It has always been about that amount. And when we talk about 98% of shopping centers, open air centers, it's like they mainly neighborhood convenience centers, small centers. So it's like, that's something we forget when the media, for instance, focus a lot on the big centers, but there are a lot more shopping centers, and the dark gray highlighted and dark gray over there shows you like right now 41% of shopping centers represent 41% of all total retail space in the US. That's growth. The growth mainly happened, again, look at the open air centers, the numbers over there. The net operating income for shopping centers over time, it's number of years here, it's 2000, I believe. You can see that it had reached a plateau following the Great Recession, but since 2012, if you look at the growth rates there, it's broken down by open air and malls. The top part being the open air. You can see the base rent and net operating income in recent years and also recent quarters. And you can see that it's fairly healthy, and you see what's happening in the US. This gives a very different picture. And
there's this ongoing diversification of tenants based on the demographic shifts and the consumer preferences toward entertainment, toward experience. So we've really looked at how that's being diversified and how Renaissance. So it's a rebirth. It's a new era. This isn't the mall here in the United States of the 80s with all apparel and the food court with the pizza and the Chinese food and the McDonald's. It's a very different environment now. And what you can see here is in 2014, 73.6% of GLA was made up of retail. That's traditional retail. What we've seen over this 4 years is a decrease in that retail of 6.7%. Those spaces aren't sitting vacant. What they're doing is they're being replaced by food of 1.1%. And when you think about the food and beverage realm and the percentage of GLA it takes up, 1.1% is actually a very large number. Amount of it, almost 10% is retail, traditional retail and apparel. And that shouldn't be a surprise. I mean, we have seen a decrease in apparel. A lot of the store closings we hear about here are apparel related. Apparel's not just going to Amazon, it's just people are shopping differently. They're shopping the TJ Maxx and the Marshalls, so there's the need for the traditional mall Gap. Millennials, the baby boomers are trying to just stay active, to stay healthy, and the millennials are very health conscious. So it's not the traditional big box fitness center that we're accustomed to. It is much more boutique. It's this.
You can see very clearly what's happening that in recent years, between 2009 and 2019, you can see the importance of fitness, anything that has to do with entertainment, and all those new tenant types that are just happening, where apparel is on the other end of the spectrum, on the negative side, as Stephanie just mentioned. So for all open air center, leasing is up 10.7%. So shopping centers, all different type of fitness, it's the traditional fitness centers, but also we see the boutique, more the boutique gym, the yoga, CrossFit type cycle, and a lot of other types of fitness centers, just general. And that has a huge impact it's bringing a new crowd, younger, like tied to the millennials, the Gen Z as well, that they're coming. About mix of uses in shopping centers, but the other part we should mention too is like the really mixed use, more flagship type of properties. Their plan is having like different uses, not only retail and fitness. I'm talking here about maybe retail, residential, hotel, so other sectors than just services.
These live, work, and play environments. And again, here you can see actually 78% of consumers want to be in that type of environment. We know that to get somebody from their couch into a store, they have a 17-minute window. So to be able to have that sort of convenience right there is fantastic. And obviously the number is very high with millennials as they are still living in that.